Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the frosty depths of Gotham City to explore the origin of one of its most tragic and compelling villains, Mr. Freeze. This isn't just a story about a bad guy with an ice gun. It's a heartbreaking tale of love, loss, and obsession. So grab a warm blanket because things are about to get chilly. Before he was Mr. Freeze, he was Dr. Victor Fries, a brilliant cryogenicist, a leading mind in his field. Victor wasn't driven by fame or fortune. His entire world, his every waking thought, was dedicated to one person, his wife, Nora. Nora was afflicted with a rare, terminal illness, a disease that doctors had given up on, but Victor refused to surrender. He saw a future where medical science had advanced enough to cure her, a future he was determined she would live to see. His solution was as radical as it was brilliant: cryogenics. He would place Nora in a state of suspended animation, freezing her body to halt the progression of the disease until a cure could be developed. It was a race against time, a desperate gamble fueled by unwavering love. Victor poured all his resources, his intellect, and his soul into this project. He worked for a major corporation, Gothcorp, under its ruthless CEO, Ferris Boyle. Victor believed the company's resources were his best hope for saving Nora. He worked tirelessly, often sleeping in his lab, his life revolving around the cryogenic chamber that held his beloved. But his single-minded dedication came at a cost. Ferris Boyle, a man who cared more about profit margins than human lives, grew impatient. He saw Victor's unauthorized use of company equipment as a liability, a drain on resources. He didn't care about Nora. He only cared about the bottom line. This is where the story takes its tragic turn. The confrontation was inevitable. Boyle stormed into the lab, ordering Victor to shut down the project immediately. He threatened to pull the plug on Nora's life support, to essentially sentence her to death. A struggle ensued. In the chaos, Victor was knocked back into a table of volatile, cryogenic chemicals. The lab was flooded with freezing compounds, and an explosion rocked the room. When the frost cleared, Ferris Boyle had fled. The lab was a wreck, and Victor Fries was changed forever. The accident didn't kill him. It did something far stranger. It altered his physiology on a cellular level. His body temperature plummeted, and he could no longer survive in normal room temperature environments. He was now dependent on sub-zero conditions to live. The very science he used to try and save his wife had become his prison. To survive, he constructed a special cryogenic suit, a technological marvel that maintains his body at the necessary freezing temperature. This suit also granted him enhanced strength and durability, but more than that, it became his new identity. The warm, loving husband was gone, frozen away. In his place was a cold, emotionless figure, a specter of his former self. He was no longer Dr. Victor Fries. He was Mr. Freeze. The accident didn't just change his body. It froze his heart, both literally and metaphorically. The warmth of his love for Nora was now encased in a shell of icy grief and rage. His sole purpose, which was once to cure her, twisted into something darker. Now it was about revenge. Revenge against Ferris Boyle, the man who had taken everything from him, and he would stop at nothing to get it, using his scientific genius to build his infamous freeze gun, a weapon capable of stopping anything or anyone in its tracks. Mr. Freeze became a formidable foe for Batman, not because he was inherently evil, but because his motivations were so deeply human. Batman, an orphan driven by the trauma of losing his parents, could see a dark reflection of himself in Freeze. Both were shaped by tragedy, both dedicated their lives to a single, all-consuming mission. This created a unique dynamic between them. Batman didn't just want to stop Freeze. On some level, he sympathized with him. He understood the pain that drove him. In many of their encounters, Batman would try to reason with Freeze, to appeal to the man he once was. But Victor's grief was a fortress of ice, seemingly impenetrable. All his actions, from robbing banks for research funds to stealing technology for his experiments, were all in his mind, for Nora. He believed that the ends justified the means. If the world had to suffer for Nora to live, then so be it. This is what makes Mr. Freeze such a powerful character. He's not a cackling madman bent on world domination. He's a man who has lost everything, a man so consumed by his love and his loss that he's willing to sacrifice his own humanity. His villainy is a direct result of his love. It's a twisted, tragic love story. He is a walking, talking embodiment of a promise he made to his wife, a promise he intends to keep, no matter the cost to himself or to Gotham City. Over the years, different writers have explored his story, sometimes changing details, but the core remains the same. The tragic scientist, the cryo suit, the freeze gun, and at the center of it all, the frozen form of his beloved Nora. In some versions, Nora is eventually cured, which presents Freeze with a new dilemma. What is his purpose now? Can he find his way back to being Victor Fries, or is he forever lost in the cold persona he created? In other, more tragic retellings, he discovers that his entire quest might have been based on a misunderstanding, or that Nora, if she were to wake up, would be horrified by the monster he has become in her name. This adds another layer of heartbreak to his character. Imagine dedicating your entire existence to a cause, only to find out it was in vain, or that the person you did it all for would reject you. It's the ultimate tragic irony. The story of Mr. Freeze serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of obsession, how love, when twisted by grief and desperation, can lead to a cold and lonely path. He's a reminder that even the most noble of intentions can be corrupted. He isn't just a villain to be defeated. He's a tragedy to be understood. His cold exterior hides a burning, passionate heart, a heart that was broken and then frozen by a cruel twist of fate. And that is what makes him one of the most memorable and sympathetic villains in all of comic book history. He forces us to ask ourselves, how far would you go for the one you love? What lines would you cross? For Victor Fries, there were no lines left. There was only the cold and the promise he made to Nora. His chilling beginning is the key to understanding his frozen heart. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think of Mr. Freeze's origin? Is he a true villain or a tragic anti-hero? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of comics. Until next time, stay safe.